Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to the NFL Sunday Morning Show right here on the Hardcore Sports Network, along with Football Talk with Bo. We're on his channel, his Facebook. We're also joined by James from the Steelers by the Lake podcast, and Nikki Stees, who's now going to be the host of the NFL Pick'ems going forward. So how you doing? How you guys doing?
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, congrats, Nikki.
Yeah, congrats,
Appreciate
Nick.
it.
Yeah, it's kind of tough when you're trying to change hosts, right, every week. But then you got to go and change them and be like, okay, you're the host this week. Oh, you can't do it? Let me get this guy. Oh, can you do it? No? Okay. Yeah. Like, it's a huge drag, so it helps everybody. Helps me out tremendously. So, Nikki, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. With that being said, let's just get this started. Nikki, let's start off with you. Who are your winners from last week?
My big winners from last week, I'll start with James' team, the Steelers. They went on the road against the Commanders team while losing 2 straight, are still one of the better teams in the NFC, and got a win. And Russell Wilson, he didn't play perfect, but he was good enough in that game, at least to temporarily silence his doubters. And the Steelers showed that they have a good team. Like, the last big thing missing the last couple of years was stability at quarterback. And surprisingly, Russell Wilson, after his run in Denver, has actually provided them with some stability to make them a dark horse contender, possibly. Now, this week against the Ravens, I think, is the test for both teams, but that's probably for later on. But yeah, Steelers are a winner right there. They got a big win on the road and proved that they're a juggernaut in the AFC this season. One winner. And the other winners, I was going to say the Eagles, but I would say that next week when we talk about week 11. Let's see. You got the Steelers. Let me see. I would have to say the Ravens. They managed to sweep the Cincinnati Bengals in tough games. And, they built momentum headed into this week's matchup to make that one of the top games. And the Ravens show that when healthy, they're still one of the best offenses in the league. I give them credit there. And the 49ers, too. Hey, they got Christian McCaffrey back. They're finally finding their groove. And if they keep winning games, they could possibly be a contender in what we thought they would be going into the season. It may have just took a little more time to get going. Like, I remember the 08 Colts. Remember they started off kind of sluggish, then they got hot later as the season went along. Looked like a threat as they got close to the playoffs. That's kind of what we might be seeing with the 49ers now. And last week, with McCaffrey being back, may have set the tone for that. That the Niners are still what we thought they were. It just may have took a little bit of time for them to get going.
Yep. Bo.
Yeah, winners wise, I'm gonna go with the Pats, not because their year is going great, but because that team is really staying together. They're a scrappy team. They fight every week. So, you're seeing a lot of resolve out of a team that's not very good, right? Like, they're roster-wise, you're like, man, you guys are going to be bad. But they battle every single week. So that's a win to me, especially if you're on that coaching staff. You got to like what you're seeing out of your players. The Steelers-Washington game, just as a game, was every bit what we thought it would be, right? I thought it was going to be the game of the week coming into that weekend, and it lived up to it, right? Ends up being a 1-point game. You get to see, the Steelers gut out a win there. It was an entertaining game, so I'm actually giving the win to that just game, that matchup as a whole. And then the Saints kind of stay alive, right? A team that has lost their coach, has had just a litany of injuries, and they keep battling through. So I'm kind of looking at some of these almost underdogs that are, kind of powering through as some of the winners for this week.
Yep. James.
I don't know what else to say, but you're welcome. To you, Philadelphia gentlemen. You asked for Pittsburgh to pull off the win for you, and they absolutely did it. That's an easy one. Man, we messed up as a crew. We forgot to go with the Saints on the interim head coach. That's always the bump. They always get the win no matter who it is. The interim head coach gets that first game win, and we all went Falcons anyway, I think, on that one. So, oops on that. I'm going to say a little unorthodox here, but the Cardinals put up a huge win over the Jets. Not that the Jets are that good this year, but looking like a legitimate team. Kyler Murray going 22 of 24, having a pretty excellent game himself. So them putting together a pretty complete game and getting a big win there, they needed that to be taken serious in the NFC. And you guys might not be going ahead and saying it, but I'm going to say your Eagles. Big statement win versus the Cowboys, leaving absolutely no doubt. I know the Cowboys aren't that good this year either, but they just absolutely stomped them in a huge game out of Saquon Barkley. So love seeing that, and nice seeing you guys with smiles on your faces on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, today's the day that Nikki and I can relax, watch football. I got other YouTube stuff that I got to take care of, but very nice, relaxing day. So as for me, who won last week, I got to go with the Eagles here. Just with the Cowboys, that was just hilarious. And Jake Paul have one more win than the Cowboys at AT&T Stadium. You know how bad that is. You know how bad that is. Like, so that's one. I agree with James with the Cardinals here. Ever since when Marvin Harrison Jr. were drafted, the Cardinals just turned over. They became a brand new team. I could actually see them making the playoffs. Do you guys see that?
Yeah,
Them making the playoffs?
Yeah, I
Right?
think there's a real good chance of it. You know, they've got weapons in all the right places. James Conner having a good year. Kyler Murray showing what he's made of, and even the wide receiver core there with some real talent. So I think they absolutely could.
Yeah. And my last one, I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers because we needed that win. Thank you for that. Thank you. We needed that. Now we're the NFC East. And I'm going to go with the Commanders as well. I know that they lost but that week, that game, that's just where I agree with Bo here. That was just like a tremendous game. One of the best games of the year by far. So I'm going to give it the Commanders there despite them losing. I am waiting for the losses. I got one. All right, we're going to talk about that right now, man. We're going to talk about the losers right now, normal guy. So, Nikki, who are you losing from last week?
my losers. I'm going to start with the Falcons. In a
Yep.
game they were favorite to win, that everyone had them winning. They were 6-3 going into it, and then here you are going against the New Orleans Saints, a team without their head coach who's struggled all season, was on a massive losing streak, and yet somehow you lost. Your kicker missed 3 field goals, which is only part of the issue. I'm not going to solely blame it on the kicker, but it is a big factor nonetheless. You had that right there. And just losing to the Saints, that's hurtful. That's bad for momentum, especially as you're in a relatively easy division. And they could still make the playoffs to win the division, but it's not looking good momentum wise after people were finally starting to hype you up as, you know what, maybe they're better than we thought they were. Maybe they just need someone better at quarterback. And then to lose like that to the Saints, it's not good, especially now going into this Broncos game where who knows what could happen. We got them as losers for that right there. This is going to be kind of an odd one. Even in victory, I got to go with the Minnesota Vikings because, yes, they
Yep.
won, but barely beating out the Jacksonville Jaguars. And not to mention they struggled against the Colts the previous week. Granted, Indianapolis is a better team than Jacksonville, but still, after a hot start, you lost 2, but then you won 2 against bad teams in ugly fashion. That creates a lot of concerns for this Vikings team headed down the stretch. Now, they could still make the playoffs for sure, but you're possibly talking maybe a 6 or 7 seed because they could drop a few games down the line, especially against division rivals. So even in victory, I got to consider that a loss for the way they won those games, especially against the Jaguars. They should have played better. And then speaking of the NFC North, I got to go with the Chicago Bears.
Yep.
We thought this team, I didn't necessarily see them as a playoff team, but I was thinking, okay, maybe they work their way up between 7 and 9 wins, at least have a decent season, get hope for the future. Now, that could still happen, but after losing to the struggling Patriots team the way they did, not getting a single touchdown, I don't know. This team might just go the rest of the way, dropping a bunch of games, maybe only winning 5 or 6, possibly. After the way they played last week, momentum's not in their favor, so I got to consider that a big loss. And I saw Bo upload the video of Greenberg going off about the Bears being stuck in their own ways.
Yep.
Yep.
And I kind of alluded to your video in my Week 10 recap on last Tuesday. But yeah, that's definitely a major loss. To lose the Patriots without scoring a single touchdown. I mean, I get if it's two rebuilding teams in a grinding battle like 20-17, that's at least a tolerable loss, but not getting a touchdown, and the Patriots getting most of their points off of field goals, that's just incompetent in that situation for a team that at least should be solid, all things considering.
Yep. Bo.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, talking about losers, we got to talk about the Jets here. Getting, Arizona just beats the brakes off those guys, and although enjoyable, because they're kind of an unlikable team, it would have been nice if the Jets would have came through. Because as a Hawks fan, I'd like to see Arizona drop a couple games, but but I mean, it has to be the Jets. Talk about the team that had the most hype coming into this season to just absolutely fall apart. Because although the Bears, that I'm going to talk about here next, is a team that had a lot of hype, you knew because of a rookie quarterback and stuff, it wasn't going to be a smooth year all the way through, right? But you look at Aaron Rodgers and how he was targeting his guys, and you thought that they were going to be or at least I thought they were going to be a wild card caliber team, and talk about falling way off the map. And then, again, to get beat down by Arizona is a bad look. Again, entertaining, enjoyable, but a bad look. Next, obviously the Bears. Even though I said the Pats are, a winner and, the try-hard team, right? Like it's the bad news Bears kind of thing. As the Bears, your roster is so much better. You cannot lose this game. And so now you're listening to chatter of people in the locker room want Caleb benched. Obviously they've already fired their offensive coordinator. Eberflus looks like he's probably out by the end of the year. So it's just normal Bears dysfunction and them continuing to spiral. And then, of course, the last one was originally going to be the Vikings in a win, but it has to be Earl Thomas. Right. So former Seahawk and Baltimore safety comes out, says he's still the best safety in the league. He hasn't played in 5 years, and went on to say that he was a better safety than Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu.
Oh, God.
Talk about catching L's out of everything that's coming out of your face. I mean, he's just stacking L's in an interview. So, one, there's no chance he's still the best safety after 5 years of not playing. And I don't know what he's smoking if he thinks he's better than Troy and Ed. But not to say that he wasn't a fantastic player. He absolutely was. But, I mean, you weren't that guy. Like, you were a guy, but you're not that guy. So my final loser of the week has to be Earl Thomas.
Yep. James.
I'm with both of these guys on the Chicago Bears after having a couple of weeks there where they looked like they might be actually turning it into a good season. They've gone completely the opposite direction. In the offseason after the NFL draft, Caleb Williams made sure to tell Tory Taylor, don't you worry, you're not going to have to punt very often. Well, Tory Taylor, the punter, has more yards punting than Caleb Williams does passing on the year. So that's just an embarrassing situation there. And Tory Taylor, it's a nightmare or a dream come true, because he goes from Iowa, where he's punting 7-8 times a game, to the Bears, where he's punting 7-8 times a game now. So if he wants to do that, this is a dream come true. Otherwise, he might have his career shortened because he's punting so often. His legs is going to be worn out way earlier than anybody else because he's just punting so often.
Is it 7 or 8 times a game, or is it 7 or 8 times a half?
It's trending towards 7 or 8 times a half, but you'd have to not turn the ball over for that to happen.
And you're not wrong, Steve-O. We did have our center just up and quit. I only get 3 losers because that was going to be one of them also.
Tony Bull, Vontae Davis.
Yep. All right.
So beyond the Bears, the Titans looking just miserable, now 2-7 on the season. I think we all thought they'd be a little bit better than that. And giving away assets and just giving up on the field, they look pretty pitiful. And the Cowboys just continuing week after week with pitiful performances. I know that doesn't break the hearts of any Eagles fans listening to hear the Cowboys as a big loser on the week.
Yeah. Has anyone forgot about the Giants? The Giants losing to the Panthers? I mean, they're a loser for this week, and then
Is
you
that
got to
really
go.
a big loser? They're kind of the same team.
Yeah, but the fact that you lost to the Panthers
I know,
on
but
Sunday morning
they're kind of
football.
also the Panthers,
Oh
right?
my
Like,
God.
in fact,
Still.
I think the Panthers have a better record than them, actually.
Yeah,
They do
are
now.
they the worst team in the league right now, the Giants?
They're tied because I think there's still a couple of 2-win teams. I think the Raiders are one of them.
And the
Oh.
Cleveland Browns as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna throw the Giants in there. I'm gonna throw my kicker in there, Jake Elliott.
Right?
I know this is
Oh,
for
my
last
gosh.
week, but I just gotta say that, man. I mean, come on, you get your chance and you always hook it left. It just left. He doesn't go right. He just left. I don't know. He left 7 points on the board, so that's a loser for me. Yeah, but I thought you were saying something.
No. I was agreeing with you. I mean, you leave 7 points on the board, and even the ones that made it were close.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he almost missed everything that day. That final field goal or extra point, I thought you guys were going to go for 2. After he missed the last one, I figured they were just like, you know what? You're trying to kick it out of the stadium, so let's just try and run this thing in.
And then
And it's
my
still almost
other
missed.
yeah, my other loser, I'm gonna go with the Chicago Bears as well. I just this is going downhill for me, so that it's mine. But yeah, I had to throw my kicker in there. My God, I hate my kicker right now. But how do you guys feel about the NFL going to Netflix for Christmas Day? Because I know with the whole Jake Paul fight, it was crashing and everything. So I just want to hear your thoughts about the NFL going to the Netflix and then so on and so forth. So, Nikki.
Okay, well, obviously they need to take note from what happened on Friday night and adjust to make their streaming, more serviceable so it doesn't freeze or crash temporarily like it did throughout Friday night.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it was happening throughout the whole broadcast. I only saw the main event. It happened like the first couple rounds. Then it got fixed. But point being is, though, it crashed and froze numerous times throughout the broadcast. The NFL, obviously, they're doing a multi-hour broadcast just like they did for Tyson and Paul. So they got to take notes and figure out, okay, how can we work with Netflix to make this thing work? If you're Roger Goodell and you want this thing to work, you need to get in contact with Netflix right away as quickly as possible. Try to figure out a solution so it works out. But sadly, I don't know if they're going to. They're just going to be like, hey, we get the profit from it. We get the ratings. We're good. I would actually like to see them work on, but knowing how the league is, they might just go with that approach.
Yep.
Sadly.
Bo, you put something on you're sharing your screen?
Yeah, this is exactly how this is going to go.
Jackson keeps.
Yeah.
Almost scored, but who knows? Yep.
Yeah. James.
As soon as they announced the games on Christmas Day were going to be on Netflix, I was very passionately against this, and I'll tell you why. Because obviously most folks who do celebrate Christmas, I know not everyone does, you get together with family. Who holds the Christmas celebrations? Typically the older members of the family, parents, grandparents, whoever the oldest generation is. How many of them have Netflix? I know my parents don't have Netflix, and that's where I'm going to be on Christmas Day. So guess who gets to be painted as the Jagov who wants to stay at home and watch the Steelers game on Christmas Day because his parents don't have Netflix? That's me.
You just
That's
log
me.
in. You just log into yours there.
Yeah, that's the thing, is they started cracking down on that. So if you attempt to do that at another house, it may not work that day.
Oh, that's where you bring your laptop and an HDMI cord. That's the way I always did it.
Yeah, I just feel like now we see that their stream is completely unreliable for a live event, and it's going to divide families on the day too. I just can't wait. The NFL's greed's gotten to an all-time high, and it's going to have family members hating each other on Christmas Day. Well done, NFL. Well done.
Yeah. So for me, I'm not going to watch it on Christmas. I'm just going to watch basketball. I just want to stick to cable. I don't want to risk anything with the internet going out, with all that. Because 60 million people tuned in for the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight, which was god awful. But like, can you imagine? NFL might even get double that. Like, crazy.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a bad fight. You go from what you were hoping was going to be like not great, right? Dude's 60. It wasn't going to be amazing, but you were hoping that there was going to be something there, and instead, the parts that weren't buffering was seeing Tyson's butt on screen, and then watching him bite his gloves nonstop. And then, and that was it. Like, that was the highlights of the whole fight. It was, I was just like, man, why did I watch this? It was free.
I had to go watch clips from the Rocky movies just to be entertained afterward.
Yeah,
pretty much.
And who's ever a WWE fan out there, they know that Raw, WWE Monday Night Raw is going to go to Netflix starting January 6th. And that's going to be a weekly thing for I don't know how long, but that's what I'm most nervous for. My God, every week. I may not even watch it live. I'll just watch it the next day because there's no point to watch anything live on Netflix anymore. There's no point.
Steve-O's down there. Jake against Schwarzenegger. It's funny because there was a post on Twitter that somebody was like, oh, next it's going to be Jake Paul versus Steve Gleason, right? ALS in the wheelchair. So Gleason actually sees this, reposts it, and was like, anytime, anywhere. I was like, that is amazing.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I'm not looking forward to NFL on Netflix. I am not. It just doesn't make any sense. Stick it to cable.
Well, and it's a Wednesday, right? So, like, that's not going to be great for the teams that are doing it. So, I mean, talk about teams not loving Thursday night football because it's a short week. Now it's going to be on a Wednesday. So hopefully those teams are coming off of a bye week or something, because I think that is like the final bye weeks. I didn't look who's all in it, but I know one of the games is Ravens, Texans, and then it's Steelers. And who are they playing?
I forget who they're playing, but they're definitely not coming off a bye week, so we're gonna get 2 days rest on that one.
Perfect. Hopefully you guys had Monday night also. Like, you go right from a Monday to a Wednesday. I think that'd be good.
It's a 10-day stretch where we've got 3 games, so that's not ideal.
Yeah, it didn't work out for my Seahawks. I think we dropped all 3 of them.
Yeah,
because we had 3 in 11 days.
Yeah,
3 games. Wow. Oh my God.
Yep.
Hey, but my Eagles are off till next Sunday, which is good. Sunday night football. Watch it be Fleck. But yeah. And I actually was just thinking about this for a while today. If you guys have any dark horses for MVP,
Oh, it's Chiefs.
huh?
Normal guy. It's Chiefs Steelers.
oh yeah.
Chiefs. Oh God, that's actually a good game though.
Both of them. Both
Could
games
be.
are going to be good games. It's just going to be. You're just not going to get to see them.
Mhm.
Yeah. On Christmas Day, that is great. That's actually a good game. But
The best fight of the night was against Netflix servers.
yeah, and they won via count out. They won via count out or a KO, whatever you want to say it. But Nikki, let me start off with you. Do you have any dark horses for MVP that anybody who's playing well enough that you want to like give praise to that no one's really talking about?
Let's see.
It's kind of tough. I was just like thinking. I came up with a couple
talking about
players in mind, but it's like really, really tough.
A handful of weeks.
Of course, one of them's on the Eagles that I
Right.
thought of.
Right. I already thought of him too.
You already
I
know who
mean,
I'm thinking of?
Yes, obviously. Let's see, dark horse candidates. I'm trying to look at the team.
So we're talking non-quarterback at this point then.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, well,
Pretty
Derrick
much.
Henry's kind of an obvious. He is a
He's
possible
not
candidate.
a dark horse, though.
Yeah, like I mean, Saquon could possibly be someone, of course, but I'm
Saquon's
trying to
are,
think of
yeah,
some other.
I was gonna say he wouldn't be a dark horse either, though.
Who are some other
he's not.
names?
He's not, but
I
he's
mean,
like in the top
He's not a
5.
quarterback, so you're automatically a dark horse because you're not going to win. But,
What about Jamar Chase on this, guys? He's got 981 yards receiving and 10 touchdowns already.
But
Yeah.
thing is, they're probably not. If Cincinnati doesn't make the playoffs, they're not going to go with him. Like if they make the playoffs and rally late, like kind of like with Adrian Peterson carrying Minnesota,
yes,
something like that. But I don't think it's going to happen. I don't know about Goff. Let's see what Goff does afterward. Let's see if he redeems himself. That would be my
5
response to that
interceptions,
comment.
yeah, and they still won.
let's be honest. Goff was a dark horse anyway because he's just not the sexy candidate for it. Because he doesn't
Right.
run the ball. Like he does what he does exceptionally well, but he's not that dynamic, quarterback that can run around and extend plays and all of that. That's why I laughed that he was behind in potential voting behind Mahomes, who's having a horrendously bad season for Mahomes.
And I know
Goff
this
is just
player-
absolutely
go ahead.
killing it, and he was behind him in preliminary voting, and I'm just like, the numbers aren't even close. Like Goff is killing him, but he's not that sexy candidate, and it's a voting game. So he was a dark horse before he had a horrible weekend.
And I'm going to say, even though he's not likely, maybe Kyler Murray, because you see how different the Cardinals look with him. He may not put up the greatest stats, but they win more games with him than without him. Even last year when he was healthy, they were more competitive and they actually squeaked out a few wins. You could say that based on the win-loss record with Kyler Murray, he could be a dark horse candidate. Even though it's not the greatest stat line, you look at the win-loss record. That could be an indication. Maybe Kyler Murray could be a dark horse.
I really like that pick. I really like that one with Kyler Murray. I really do. Bo, you got one?
Yeah, I was actually going to go with Kyler, even though I was saying probably a non-quarterback. But since that's where Nikki went, I'm actually going to go with Goff. No.
No.
Yeah, I'll go with Goff here because the thing that would be interesting with this is obviously he throws 5 picks and that derails any conversation that was being had. But say he comes back and balls out like he did, the weeks preceding that, it's going to be hard not to have him in a conversation. Like he doesn't win.
Yep.
Lamar is absolutely killing it this year. Like he has better numbers than when he won it last year. So, I mean, it's going to be tough for him to not win back to back. But if Goff can come out and play the way he was playing, I mean, he's got to be a dark horse in that conversation.
I like that one as well. James.
I'll give you a little off the ball one. How about Kirk Cousins? Quietly having a pretty solid year himself, 2,600 yards passing already. He's third in the NFL there. 17 touchdowns, the 8 picks isn't the worst thing in the world. He could continue putting up big numbers on their attempt to get into the playoffs there. But it will take absolutely some bad games from Lamar and Josh Allen and some of these top dogs for someone like him to get considered.
So to answer Jay there, how much is stats and how much are intangibles? Your stats have to be there to be in the conversation, but you don't actually have to be the best quarterback to win, because we've watched where guys have had better numbers, but because it's a voting game, think about it like college football playoffs the way it used to be. You can miss the playoffs being undefeated.
Right.
This is exactly the MVP. It's just, there's some East Coast bias, so it's going to be harder for anybody on the West Coast to win, which is what will make Kyler an even longer shot, right? Because the voting is done by beat writers and stuff, most of which are located on the East Coast. So
Yeah.
they don't even necessarily see a lot of the West Coast teams. But yeah, so I mean, it's just a lot of it is just voting and popularity, unfortunately.
No, Jay, Russell Wilson will never be MVP. That is the award he wants, and the one he will never get.
So he will struggle mightily to win it because he didn't start this season. So,
Right.
I mean, he would have to go on one of the most ridiculous tears ever, especially to beat Lamar, who's having an insane season.
Yeah. It's going to be my pick. It's going to be Lamar for actual MVP. But for actual MVP, it's Lamar. But for the dark horse, I was going to say, oh my God. I mean, Saquon is already in the conversation, right? He's already like in the top 5. So I guess I can include him as a dark horse, I guess, because he's not really a quarterback. So, I mean, the only thing that's hurting him is the touchdowns because they keep on giving it to the touch push every chance that they get, which I hate. I'm like, give him the yardage, give him the touchdowns after he gets you to that 1 yard line.
Mhm.
But no,
I mean, would you though? Because the tush push is like it's almost a guaranteed play for him.
it is almost a guaranteed play, but I just want to reward the guy who having one of the best seasons of his career. He just broke 1,000 yards in 10 games.
He's on your fantasy team.
No, he is not. He is not. I don't have the only Eagle I have on my fantasy team is god dang Jake Elliott. That's the only one I have.
Oh,
And I still haven't released him, but I'm like, what else? I already suck. But I guess for me, yeah, he had the best move. We're going to be talking about the best moves next week. That'll be a topic for next week for sure. Here's the thing, James, you would know about this. He's done that in Penn State. Saquon Barkley's done that in Penn State. So
he
like
did
that,
about
right?
everything there, man. I remember at one point he was having such a tremendous season as a running back and even receiving a little bit. He didn't do that a ton in Penn State. They said, you know what, let's start this next game off with him as the kick returner. And he took his very first kick return back for a touchdown. At that point, they realized there wasn't anything he could not do. So,
yeah, we'll be talking about best moves next week. So I guess my pick, I really like the Kyler Murray pick. I really do. Or if you want to talk about offensive rookies, then Marvin Harrison will be in that conversation for sure. But I really like that Kyler Murray pick. There's no one else I'm going to go with, so I'm going to go with Kyler Murray. Really difficult to think of one. So, all right, let's do our pick'ems for this weekend for today. So hold on, I need to look at this. We're going to start off with Nicky.
unanimous.
Yeah,
Packers.
right.
Everyone going Packers?
yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
Okay.
the Bears just lost to the Pats. Like,
Yeah.
Is there an over-under on punting yards on that game?
I don't know.
I would bet you there's a prop bet on that.
All
This
right.
should be another unanimous. Lions.
Yeah.
Wait, another one.
So
Vikings.
this one's a little more interesting. I'm still taking the Vikings, but this one's a little more
I'm still taking the Vikings, but
because the defense of the Titans is so good. So how the Titans can stay in this is there may be a defensive score that keeps them in this game because Darnold hasn't looked great the last couple of weeks. And that Titans defense, despite the fact that they have absolutely no offense to talk about, they have the first or second rankings in most defensive categories, which is amazing when your offense can't stay on the field.
shout out to my guy Blaze from the Hardcore Sports Network. TJ Watt for MVP. I know it will never happen with a defensive player. And yes, I'm being a homer. Yes, you are Homer Simpson. But who else wins as many games from the defense? James, you
You're
agree
not
with that
wrong.
one? Not wrong.
Yeah,
I
you're
mean, I'd love to see it. This year, the numbers aren't there for TJ, and it's because he's being double and triple teamed on every play. There's a rumor going around that the Ravens are thinking about just one-on-one blocking him with rookie third or fourth round pick Roger Rosengarten. I pray to God that's true, because if so, he's going to get his sacks today.
Yeah. Oh my God, another unanimous one.
Yeah.
What is with these games? Nikki, I can see why Pick'ems did like 5 minutes. I'm still going with the Rams.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I'm Rams on this one too. I don't know how in depth we have to get there.
Anyone going with the Browns?
No, but this is going to be a tighter game than it should be. But I have the Saints at home here. But I mean, the Browns are annoying because their roster is so good that they can win any given week if they don't shoot themselves in the foot.
Right.
I have no faith that the Saints will not shoot themselves in the foot.
Exactly.
I'm actually going to go Cleveland on this one because I think the Saints' 1-game bump from the intern head coach is over, and here comes the stinker where they put up like 3 points in the entire game.
It's like a boxing match where both fighters have stepped in a bear trap.
Yeah.
You're just like,
So you're not talking about the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight?
Yeah,
No.
kind of. I mean, I feel like this one could just randomly end in a tie.
Yeah.
2-2.
Exactly.
A couple safeties.
Yeah, Jay. Bo's been grinding as of late.
Yep.
He's been doing well.
Appreciate it. Oh, in fact, on that note, because we passed the 500, we're giving away the Seahawks signature card. So if you're part of my subscriber list, we'll be giving that away later today.
Awesome. How can you enter that?
Just being on my subscribers, you just got to make sure that you don't have your subscribership hidden, right? Like some people hide their name from subscriptions. So obviously I don't know if you're there, but as long as you are visible in the subscriptions, I'm going to pull from that list, randomize the names, and pull out a winner from that later today before the Seahawks game.
Gotcha. Awesome. Oh, it's Mike Tyson versus Mike Tyson? Okay. All right.
How dead were his legs? Like he couldn't move at all. He'd do like little jump shuffles randomly, but otherwise it was like just shuffling his feet around. I was just like, man, if Jake Paul actually wanted to beat him down, he could have. Like he couldn't move at all.
Nah.
Still had good hand speed though. His hand speed was good.
Here's the thing. Did you guys see him train? Like he was training hard for this.
Yeah.
And then he did that.
Well, I mean, he's 60.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want? You got a dude that's 27 beating up a 60-year-old man. Like, what do you want?
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the Saints here.
Yep.
Here we go. I think this is the best game of the day. So
he just dropped his theme. Here we go.
Dude, you have no idea. When we were playing the Cowboys, all the quarterbacks were yelling that, and I'm like, please just stop. I'm like, just stop. That's so annoying. God dang annoying. Yeah, I can't even say those words anymore.
The Steelers, that's actually their hashtag, is here we go. on Twitter. That's their logoed hashtag. But the question is it here we go, or is it here we go?
It's actually here we go, Steelers.
Yeah,
here we go.
Hey, so Bo, who are you going with?
I do have the Ravens here, and it's really going to come down to if the Ravens stick true to what they're good at or if they try and get cute. So if they stick with what they're good at, they can absolutely win this game. If they don't, then the Steelers are going to get it because every time they abandon the run, it's a wrap. Now, the Steelers are good against the run. They're not good against the pass. So there is some exposure that the Ravens can get there. And then on the other end, the Steelers are good at running and also good at passing now, right? And the secondary of the Ravens. So both of them can exploit the pass game. And both of them are good against the run, where both of them also run the ball well. So it's kind of strength against strength. So it should be kind of fun to watch.
Yep. And Jay brings up a good point. I'm surprised that this is a 69-31 split.
I'm not.
Funny.
Because I don't trust the Ravens to actually do what they're good at. Like we watched them lose 3 games because they abandoned the run. And then realistically, they should have lost against the Bengals because they, it comes down to a last second, they win. But that was another game where they got away from the run. They only ran Henry 16 times for the game, 5 of which were the first drive. So, I mean, it just didn't, I don't know why they keep getting away from the running game. The one thing that they're exceptionally good at, but if they do, they lose today.
Mhm. James, I think I know where you're going with.
It's a tough one today. This is the toughest one I think Pittsburgh's had all season so far. Baltimore's offense just looks incredible most weeks. And there's a reason I'm wearing the Jack Lambert throwback jersey today, because the middle linebackers for Pittsburgh absolutely have to step up and meet Derrick Henry in the hole, no matter how much it hurts. and that starts with Landon Roberts, their run stopper of the middle linebacker core. So his role today has to be bigger than anyone else's. But you've got 2 teams that are passing all over everybody all of a sudden, and 2 secondaries that can't stop anyone. So I think it's going to be a lot of points today, and I hope that Baltimore continues to just throw it, because I don't think Pittsburgh will be able to handle Derrick Henry all game long. I really think that Pittsburgh's best bet is going against Lamar Jackson throwing the ball, which in previous years has been no problem. They're 7-1 against Baltimore in the last 4 years, but Lamar's a whole nother animal right now. He's throwing the ball at the best rate of his entire career. So I will take Pittsburgh, but I think it's a very, very, very close game where they win by a game or a late field goal, like 1 point or a late field goal or something like that.
You know what's funny? It just went down to 68%, so someone picked the Steelers.
It was me.
Hey, so I'm going to go with the Ravens here. I just think the duo Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry are going to be too much if they stick to the run. But the Steelers defense is top in the league, so it's going to be very, very interesting to watch. And I get to watch it. It's on CBS, so I get to watch a good game for once.
Nice.
So there we go.
That's definitely a game that I would keep my money in my pocket. I would not bet on that.
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, I will not.
Take the over. That's about it.
Yep.
So we got the Colts and the Jets, and Anthony Richardson is the quarterback again. So I'm going to go with the Jets. I don't trust the Colts. James?
What
I
a
don't trust
mess
both
huh?
teams.
In Indianapolis. They go to Joe Flacco and say they're not going back to Anthony Richardson no matter what, and then a couple weeks later go back to Anthony Richardson. So I don't know how you can have much faith in that team on offense, but their defense is pretty stout, and Aaron Rodgers has been a train wreck this year, so I will take the Colts, not because I have any faith in their offense, but because I think their defense is going to give Aaron Rodgers some issues.
All right.
Yeah.
Bo.
So I'm going to go the other way. I got the Jets here, and mostly because it's going back to AR-15, and there's just not a lot of continuity on that offense when he's out there. If he has to go play hero ball, the Jets defense is still good. Like, it's not as good as it was when Saleh was there, right? But it's still good enough to beat up that offense. And eventually the Jets are going to complete a pass, right? So I feel like this is probably that week. They're going to beat up on a Colts team that just doesn't have any continuity on offense. Their defense is good, but it won't be enough this weekend.
All right. And then we got the Falcons and the Broncos. Oh, my God. I don't know who to go with. It looks like I picked the Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like I'm going with the Falcons. So, Bo.
I have the Broncos here. I have the Broncos to win at home. One thing to keep in mind is they have the number 2 defense in the league. And so in spite of the fact that their offense is wildly inconsistent, it has been getting better as the year's gone on. And that defense is, top notch in most categories. So I'm going to go with the Broncos at home. The Falcons, again, that's just another team that's wildly inconsistent.
Yeah, James.
They're as inconsistent as it gets. I agree 100%. I'm going to put a little faith in Kirk Cousins this week, only because I just picked him as a dark horse MVP candidate. So I'll go Falcons over Broncos.
Okay, everyone picking Niners or Bo?
Oh, yeah. Niners cruise on this. I mean, we just had our center quit. Like,
How did he quit? Did he just get up and leave? What happened?
yeah, he retired like midweek. He's just like, yeah, and I'm done. But it's given us no information as to why. So, like, even when the team came out and we're like, oh yeah, he announced retirement, all of that. Obviously the first question the press panel asks is why, and he's like, well, we're going to respect his wishes, and and that's just kind of how they left it. So interesting. Like, I don't know what it is there, but the problem with it is he was actually the best graded part of our offensive line. That is absolutely terrible. So we'll be starting a rookie at center. He has played decent, so it's not to say that the rookie isn't going to be able to do something out there. But having a rookie center, I would look for some very real mistakes. Some snaps that may be off target, low or high or whatever. So I mean, there's going to be opportunity for this San Fran defensive front to break through and beat up on Geno a bit. So yeah, I have sadly I have the Niners doing some work here.
James?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to go with the Niners as well. You gotta worry about this young man retiring at 27 years old. Hopefully, it's like an ankle or a knee that just isn't getting any better, and he doesn't want to deal with it anymore. Hopefully, this is not some sort of like mental struggle that he's going through, or worse yet, maybe like a loss of a family member or something that happened with Pittsburgh a couple years ago. Stephon Tuitt's brother was literally run over by a vehicle. Like, he was trying to help somebody secure a bed mattress to the top of a vehicle, got run over in the middle of the road and killed. And he just never recovered mentally from it and retired at a young age after coming off a season where he had 11 sacks as a defensive end. That was it. His career was done, and nobody saw it coming. So hopefully for his sake, it's nothing like that. But you got to worry about him just so out of the blue having something like that happen.
I'm going to go with the Niners just because of Christian McCaffrey. Yeah. And here we go. Oh my God, I said it again.
Do it again.
I can't stop saying
Here we
it.
go.
He's in the Bills. How are the Bills are the 60% pick the Bills?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand that. James, who are you going with?
I'll tell you why 60% pick the Bills, because they have a habit of beating the Chiefs in the regular season and then losing to them in the postseason. So I'm going to follow that 60% and go with the Bills, not because I think that they're the better team necessarily. They just have a habit of always beating them in the regular season. So I think they'll continue that and then probably lose to them in the postseason like normal.
All right, Bo.
Yeah, I have Buffalo here. They're a more complete team.
Yeah.
Records aside, right? Like, KC has had some lucky wins, and that's part of winning in the NFL. Like, sometimes you got to have some lucky breaks coming your way, but they have not been great on the offensive side of the ball. Their defense is fantastic, but the offensive side of the ball has been ugly. It's been good enough apparently, but it's been ugly. Whereas you look at the Bills, they've been really a complete team top to bottom, and kind of ahead of schedule of where we thought they would be. Really thought that defense was going to take a bigger step back with some of the pieces they lost. The offense is kind of where you thought it would be, just because they were planning for Diggs to be gone. So I like the Bills here. Besides, Casey's not going to run the table.
Yeah. Alexander says Chiefs should have had 3 losses by now because they're lucky wins.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I think since you have Patrick Mahomes, I feel like you can't go against them, and you can't go against the referees. So I'm going with the Chiefs.
So, to be fair, I think it was this last game. One of the refs was on the sideline getting his hamstring worked on, so they may have different refs this time.
Please, I don't know if I want the Chiefs to win, but for my pick'ems, I do. Bills, I hope. Kansas City, though, has the refs on their side. It's going to be tough. Yeah, it's going to be very tough. I think this is going to be an entertaining game as well. So, oh my, hey, not bad. Bengals and Chargers. I'm going to probably, why did I pick the Bengals? Why did I pick the Bengals? But, Bo.
I got the Chargers here. I like their defense. I mean, obviously, I like it better than the Bengals because they don't play defense. But
right.
I like the Chargers here. The offense is really coming together, and it's just kind of a under the radar team. Nobody's really talking about how good they've been playing, and they've quietly gotten to 6-3. So I have them taking down the Bengals. Plus, that will essentially almost end the Bengals season.
Be careful, Mitch. It's like Beetlejuice. If you say blank, blank. Well, the Cowboys say it too, though. That's the funniest thing.
Yeah. Dak says it. The whole organization for the Steelers say it. So,
I mean, the quarterbacks were saying it against the Eagles, though. All three of them were saying it. So, I don't know. Yeah. But, James.
True. I'm with Bo on this one. I think the Chargers are an underappreciated team. And after Cincinnati losing a game that they really needed to win against Baltimore, this could be that final nail in the coffin that darn near knocks them out of playoff contention. It's tough to come back from 4-7 and win enough games to still make it in the playoffs. So I like the Chargers to win this, and it's really going to put Cincinnati's backs up against the wall afterwards.
I'm going to go.
They have to win out from there.
Yeah.
As you can see, I changed my pick from the Bengals to the Chargers, so I'm going to stick with that. I'm sticking with that. So, yeah. You want to hear something funny? He's the Cowboys and Chargers fan. I don't understand how, but anyway.
You wanted one in each conference, I guess.
I mean, those are the two teams that had the biggest tradition of either not making the playoffs after a good year or getting bounced in the first round. So at least it's consistent.
Yeah.
Oh, he just doesn't win championships. I got you. Okay.
The Battle of Texas. We got the Houston Texans and the Cowboys.
Is anyone taking the Cowboys?
6%.
That feels high. I feel like that's Jerry Jones and a bunch of burner accounts.
Right. No one's going Cowboys?
Here
Even
we
him.
go.
He's going
Texans for the win.
He's even thinking of Texans. Yeah, guys, so that's going to wait, did I actually make a score? Yeah, I did. Okay. All right, guys, so there you have it. There's predictions for this week, so that's going to conclude the NFL Sunday Morning Show. James, where can they find you?
At Steelers by the Lake on YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, Apple Podcast, all the major places. We're on all of them. Check us out.
Bo?
Yeah, and then you can find me here Sunday mornings right there on my channel on the screen there at Football-Talk. And, of course, if you sign up, you still have a shot at this card on the table. And then, all the socials, Football Talk with Bo.
Yep, you can find me at Hardcore Sports Network. Hit the subscribe button over there. You can find me on my main channel, Miskovsky, my second channel, MK Meets World, where I'm reacting to Tom Grassi, Scooter Magooger videos. You guys are going to love those. Hardcore Sports, I already said that. And Steampunk Entertainment. So you can find me all there. Without further ado, catch you all on the next one. I thought you said something. Peace, guys. Have fun today. And the Eagles fans, we get to relax. Stress free. Finally. All right, guys. Catch you later. Peace.